Hello guys, and welcome to another video. It's Emily here with the trumpet, and today we'll be talking about how you can easily play high notes on the trumpet. In this video, I'll be teaching you step by step not just how to play high notes, but to play them correctly and to build your endurance on the trumpet and also increase your range. Now, playing of high notes, I would liken playing of high notes on the trumpet to driving a car. Now, the reason why most beginner trumpeters they struggle with playing high notes on the trumpet is because they try to jump the process. You are learning how to drive a car, a manual car. You don't just start with gear 5. You start with maybe gear 1, gear 2, until you are comfortable with the controls. If you can drive gear 2 comfortably, then you can no doubt attempt gear 3. And then once you've gotten comfortable with gear 3, you can attempt gear 4. That way you are building yourself. But most beginner trumpeters, they try to jump the process. The excitement and fun of being able to play high notes. They're like, let me attempt to go to gear 5 and stuff. And that way they end up either mispitching, or they play those notes out of tune, or they don't even get the notes at all, or they end up applying too much pressure. Now, applying too much, you don't need pressure at all to play the trumpet. You need fast air to be able to play those high notes. You don't need pressure. You can liken it to a water hose. If you reduce the size of the nozzle of the hose, making it very small, and then you increase the velocity of the water, that's the speed of the water coming, you realize that the water will go faster and it will go a higher distance. But if you increase the size of the nozzle, that's the opening, and send the water out, you discover that the water will fall, like it won't go a higher distance. Now, the same thing applies with the trumpet. To play those high notes, you basically need a small aperture and fast airflow. Now, if you notice, when I played at the beginning of this video, I maintained the same energy, the same volume. I played all the way up and came down. You don't need to force the air to apply so much pressure so that your veins are popping out and stuff. So that's basically the concept of playing high notes. But to actually get this correctly or get it right, you actually need practice, lots of practice. Now, lots of people will say, I do practice, nothing is working. Now, the problem is not with practicing. What exactly are you practicing? What do you practice? Some people pick up the horn and they're like, I'm practicing trumpet, and they're playing Nare Kelemo, Nare Kelemo. After an hour or 45 minutes, they're tired and they put the trumpet back in the case. And they'll be like, I practiced. Yeah, you practice, but you actually practice playing a song you're already familiar with. At the end of the day, you did nothing. So you should come up with a practice routine. Lots of trumpet players, if you ask them what is your practice routine like, they don't have one. So you need a practice routine. You need to write out things about trumpet playing, about yourself, that you would wish to improve upon. Let's say your tonguing on the trumpet is not so good. Okay, you include in your list, I need to improve on my tonguing. Or maybe your lip trilling is not that great, and you're like, okay, I need to improve on my lip trilling. My high notes is kind of bad, I need to improve on it. Then now you break down your practice routine into something that is very realistic, that you are sure and you know that, yeah, you can stick to it. Let's say you practice a high note playing for 45 minutes. Then that 45 minutes, you break it down. Okay, I'll be going 10 minutes each. After 10 minutes of practicing, I'll take 3 minutes break between each session. And you try that for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Yeah, that's something that's realistic, that you know, yeah, I can actually do this. Not saying I'm going to practice for 3 hours. If you say you practice for 3 hours, you notice that at the end of the day, the 3 hours, you might just use 15 minutes of actually practicing, and the remaining time you might just be playing songs that are in your head, or that solo you heard somewhere, or all of those songs that you heard and stuff like that. So you need to come up with a practice routine that, okay, I'll actually practice this from this to this, and then stick to your practice routine. Even if it's a minute every day, make sure that 1 minute every day is 1 minute, and you don't miss it. Every day, every single day, you go 1 minute every single day, 1 minute every single day, 1 minute. But I'm not saying you should go 1 minute. Try making it as long as possible. Let's say 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and depending on how free you can get. You might not notice the difference instantly, but over time, over a month, over 2 months, over 3 months, you look back and you're like, wow, I wasn't this good, my playing wasn't this great, but I'm already doing better. And that's what practice does. Initially, you might not notice the difference or the progress, but over time, you'd come to realize that, yeah, you're not where you used to be. My trumpet teacher used to say that even if you practice the wrong thing, if you are consistent with it, you get better at playing the wrong thing. So how much more if you practice correctly and the right thing? So now, what should you actually practice? Since I've talked about practicing, having a practice routine, yeah, the first thing you should consider practicing on your list should be long tones. Okay, basically, when we talk of long tones, it's just you playing a note on the trumpet and holding it out for a period of time. Let's say you have to play your F. That's a long tone. You're holding that F down for a period of time. Now, what does this do? Long tones actually help to make your note smoother and to build a good embouchure on the trumpet. Now, in the context of playing high notes, how does long tone actually help? Okay, so I'll explain it this way. Let's say the highest note you can play on the trumpet comfortably without bluffing out or without stressing. Let's say it's your saw. That's the highest note you can play on the trumpet comfortably without stressing. What you do is you start off the long tones from the do, that's do, and you try holding it until you get stressed. Yeah, you try holding it until you get stressed. Maybe let's say you start by going 12 beats, do, till you get to 12, and then you try re and up to saw. Now, since saw is the highest note you can play comfortably, you might find you might have difficulties in holding saw up to 12 beats or so. So you start off with something smaller, depending on how comfortable you are. You start off with something smaller, let's say 4 beats or 2 beats or 3 beats or 8 beats, and you go and you keep going. Now you find out that with time you get very comfortable with saw, so that to step to the next note becomes a walkover. That's just the essence of long tones. Once you practice those long tones, you keep going time and time and time again. Each time you try to increase the duration longer, and you keep trying. Now you notice that over some period of practice, you'll be able to play that high notes, like the highest notes you can play comfortably. You'll be able to go 4 beats, you'll be able to go 6 beats, 8 beats. Now what has happened? What has that done? It has made the highest notes you could play comfortably, it has brought it down and made it easy. You are even more comfortable with the note. Now, once you are even more comfortable with the note, you can move forward and try to play the next note. So that's what long tone does. Practicing long tones, it helps you get comfortable with those notes. Now, at the beginning of this video, I played some high notes, and if you noticed, I didn't blast them out. And why is that? That's because of long tones. Because I practice those notes, I try holding them off, and then I try practice them as soft as possible. I'll try playing some high notes, but I'll try remaining as relaxed as possible. You notice that I didn't try to apply pressure, and I was playing at the same volume. So when you're practicing long tones, not just hold the tones, not just hold the notes for a duration of time. Try to practice with volume. hold the note and reduce the volume. This helps you to get absolute control of the note, that yeah, you can play the notes as soft as possible. You know, when Marsalis once said something that if you can't play Brahms' lullaby in a room without waking a baby up, that you're not yet a trumpet player. So even as you practice the locked notes, try to also reduce your volume to be able to play those notes as soft as possible without cutting the sound. So in doing that, you find that you get comfortable and even more and more comfortable with the notes over time, and you wouldn't need to be forcing the air to try to get the notes. And the next will be practicing your scales, your chromatic, your diatonic, and any other scale you can think of. Now, the reason why you should practice your scales all the way up to the highest notes you can play comfortably and down and keep going is because there are sometimes you play those notes and you're like, yeah, I got these notes, I can play it, I played it. But when you actually do a recording of yourself playing that note, you find out that the note you played is either flat or out of tune. And so in playing your scales, you are trying to join those notes. Maybe some of those high notes on a good day, I can actually play some of them maybe by luck or stuff. And I'm actually trying to build those high notes to make sure that those notes, they are sure notes, they keep coming back. I can always play them every other day. Let's say we're using your key C for demonstration. The highest note you can play on the trumpet is your saw. Once again, every day you start off with, every day you are practicing your scale, you go do re mi fa sol va mi re, 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 do re mi fa sol va mi re. Now what you're doing is you're building your muscle memory. You're helping your muscles, that's the muscles in your lips, to become adapted with those notes. And there become a time that they won't even stress to play those notes. And there'll be a time that you unconsciously be able to play la, like out of the blues. One day you're just la, and like, wow, I can play this note. So the same thing goes for the higher register. You start off from where you're comfortable with, and you go do re mi fa sol. Let's say now you've practiced over time, and the highest note you can go is sol octave, and you keep going do re mi fa sol va mi re, do re mi fa sol va mi re, do re mi fa sol va mi re, do re mi fa sol va mi. And then one day you go do re mi fa sol la. So you should practice your scales. Not just practice your scales, practice those scales all the way up to the highest note that you can play comfortably. Keep doing that. Go up and come down, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and within time you find that you smoothen out the curve. What else should you practice? Now, etudes and studies written for trumpet, you can find those that focus on high note playing. So you should try playing as much etudes as you can find.